Hey everyone, welcome. Steve R Phillips, and today I've got the pleasure of inviting Bill Goss to the live Google Hangout. And Bill's going to be highlighting for us the power of books. He's got a company called the Elite Publishing Academy, and he helps others. He's an author of 5 books himself anyway, so he knows from experience. But not only from experience, he also helps others now to publish their books. So I'm really excited for you to gain some of Bill's experience and knowledge and see how you can implement that into your life and how it can help to transform yourself and your business. So Bill, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Steve. How are you?
Yeah, great, thanks. Thank you for joining us today. So yeah, on that, can we just kick off with your speciality, which is books, and what's the power of books?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I've been within the print and publishing industry for about 15 years now. And especially over the last kind of 10 years, I've really understood, if you like, the power of books, the written book and obviously the ebook formats and other digital formats. Originally, I was doing a lot of kind of self-publishing for people. So a lot of people were just writing their memoirs or local history books and everything like that, which is fantastic. And then the mind shift changed probably about 08, 09, I suppose, after the big financial crash. And a lot of people were kind of obviously finding their way again. You know, a lot of people have been redundant, lost their jobs. And there's a lot of expertise out there where, if you like, if you were a corporate bod and then all of a sudden you couldn't go back into that world, there was a lot of new startups, a lot of, I think the word entrepreneur really kind of kicked off from there onwards. From that, obviously, you had a lot of kind of gurus out there that were obviously producing books and everything. And obviously with the time, with the self-publishing, all of a sudden it became a lot more affordable for people to actually write a book and get their kind of knowledge and expertise out there. So that's how it all kind of turned around, as it were. And I kind of was in that industry anyway. I was fortunate enough with a lot of the kind of books I was producing to work with a lot of kind of marketing people and other people that really got the concept of a book, as in the written book and what it can actually do for yourself, how it can use an American term here, but leverage you and kind of give you accountability, credibility and authenticity. So that's really what books can do for you. They can really help you. They can position you in a power of authority, which I think is pretty cool thing to do more than anything. Again, it's got to be well written and the content has to be there, and you have to be providing stuff for your readership. Then I think you're onto a winner, and then you have to market it from there. But in essence, in kind of a short brief, that's kind of where I kind of come into it. So I kind of help people who have knowledge and expertise that want to kind of put it into a book form that they then can provide to their client base and followers, and then it will kind of lead on to lots of different other things. Trust me, it goes on to all sorts. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, really.
So you've written 5 books,
yes.
And so you obviously know the process and stuff, but there may be some people watching this now that I've spoken to so many people that have got the manuscripts, they've written practically all of the book, but whatever there's something getting in the way of them publishing their books. Whether they're just starting, whether they've got their book ready, whether it's fear, whatever, what would be your advice to get over those stumbling blocks so they can get started?
Sure. I mean, I think for me, I'm not a writer by any stretch, any trade, as it were. I write as I speak, and I think that's probably the best way to do it. But also, you've got to think of the purpose of my books. My books or guides are very short. They're kind of anything from 100 pages to about 150 pages. Quite a lot of graphics in there as well. But mine are kind of how-to guides, and mine are there for purpose. And whatever your genre you're writing about, think of that in the first place. Think of your audience. Think of yourself picking up that book. Does it have to be a 500-page, War and Peace, for example, or could you kind of divide that into maybe 2 or 3 editions as well? And you've got to kind of think of that as well before the process. Like everything, you have to kind of, I know we all have lots of ideas out there, loads of ideas. But if you, again, just on a basic A4 sheet of paper, before you even start the process, is think about your end reader to start with. Think about who's going to read the book. and then you can then kind of divide it down. Yeah, as I say, for me, it's not hard. It's hard to write. Sit down and write. It's very difficult, as you may tell. I can talk a lot, and that's what helps me. I do a lot of presentations. And I kind of get my content from that, and then I'll sit there and I will rework that. I do a lot of emailing. I do a lot of, obviously, sales literature. I do a lot of websites as well. So a lot of my kind of content is out there. And then what you do, if in essence, or what I do, whether it's right or wrong, I'm sure lots of people have different views on it. I'll get all that content that I think I'm going to write about that particular book. I'll literally dump it on, you know, either Pages or Word document platform, and then I'll literally just go through it. So, as I always say, if you're going to write from scratch, as it were, just first of all, because it can be very, very daunting, just write your kind of top 10 ideas of what you think the book's going to be about. And all of a sudden, that's your first 10 chapters, if you like. And then you can divide that as you go along. So, look, everybody's different, but I always try and keep things really simple. Think about the end user, think about the project, obviously. You know, it really does depend on the genre, Steve, if I'm honest with you, what you're writing about. For me, it's a lot easier because I'm writing kind of business and marketing and sales books. So it's kind of fairly easy to, you know, if you want to write about email marketing, you can do that quite easily and just segment that into, say, 10 different categories. That makes sense. But it works, the principle works for anything, whether it's fiction or non-fiction anyway. So, but it just depends on how your mind is as well.
That was awesome what you said, and it's easy. You said it was easy, but it's easy because you know your stuff, don't you? You know what you do, so it's just a matter of, from what I got there, it's just a matter of compiling all that stuff and getting it into a book format.
Well, yeah, I think keep it simple and systemize it the best way you possibly can. Don't be too emotional over it either, because it's never ever going to be perfect. And you know, I must say that a dozen times a day to people that I speak to or have, you know, one-to-ones with, or whatever it may well be, is look, it's never going to be perfect, but people will forgive you as long as, you know, it's grammatically it's correct, and things like that. Then I think, you know, you get away with it. But it's a case of just make sure that don't, you know, if you take the emotion out of it. There's two sides to it, Steve. If you're going to think you're going to be an Amazon #1 bestseller, cool, really good. But again, you've got to have a real good strategy behind that, because we all go out there and think, right, we're going to be a #1 Amazon bestseller. Luckily, again, for me, not because of me, because of how good they are. I've got a few on the books that have been, but it's very tough and it's quite hard. There are a few tricks of the trade that you sell certain books at a certain time on a certain day, and then your book, you know, in your subsection could be #1, and that's how you kind of market it. So
can you go into that in a little bit more detail?
Yeah. So I haven't done it. So again, I can't proclaim that it's that I've personally been a #1 Amazon bestseller, because I haven't. But a few people that have published with me have, and there are certain, if you like, techniques and that you can do. So, for example, if you're writing a book about, I don't know, say, pens, just because a pen's right in front of me, then obviously when you go through the segmentation of where your book is, you would kind of obviously go through the main categories and subcategories, and then, you know, as much, again, divide it as best you can. So target your audience as always, as you always should be, whether you're selling widgets, books, holidays, whatever you're selling, you should really segment your marketplace. And therefore you could sell a certain number of books. So again, if you have a good email list, you could therefore send out to your email list, look, I'm selling my book at £5, $5, whatever it may well be, at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. On Tuesday. And, you know, you might say you sold 300 copies, 500 copies, whatever, 50 copies. Then you might be in that top 10, top 5, top 1. So there is different tricks of the trade. Lots of people do it, and it works for some, doesn't work for others. So I think, like everything, the more targeted your audience is, and the more laser targeted your audience is, the better your product, which is a book, whatever it may well be, will actually have a better chance of kind of working. And that's where I think a lot of people will unfortunately fail when they publish their books, because it's taken a lot of time. a real lot of time for people to get it there. I understand that. And it's not me saying, oh, you can write a book in 30 days. You can if you really put your head to it. But I know other people have jobs and families and lots of other things will take over. And I fully appreciate that. It's like if you really want to do something, you'll get it done within a set time. Now, I set my time of that I had to have it done by April, because as in the finished book, so therefore I can start marketing it through the summer months. So I know that a lot of people will start thinking about, if you like, promoting their books and everything just after summer. We always have that summer lull, don't we? Where all of a sudden we've all had our holidays and and oh, I've got, oh, blimey, you know, what's coming in, what isn't coming in. And again, it's like marketing promotion. And the best way, or one of the best ways, not the best way, is to have a book or a guide, because it really sets you out from the crowd. You know, and I spoke to someone the other day saying, well, everyone's becoming an author. Well, yeah, good. Because if you've got knowledge and expertise within what you have, and you feel that you can actually give value to people, then why not put it down in a written form, which is then obviously in a digital format as well. And then you can, you know, I can go off on it here, but you can really divide your books into about 10 or 15 different products as well, if that's what you're thinking of doing. So, you know, the book really does become a kind of a shopping cart full of goodies, really.
Okay, so before we go into the book, because I'd like to go into that actually, because you opened that up, but about the products. But before we go into that, you mentioned about the audio and stuff in your content, and I think you were referring to. So, say for example, if you've done a talk and you've recorded your talk, then can you expand on that? Because some of the audience maybe weren't aware of how you can transfer that into a book.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, what you can do, say for example, you've done a talk, a local talk, or you've been hosted a seminar or a webinar like this, for example. You can actually get it transcribed, which costs you not a lot of money as well. And you can go, you know, I mean, I always highly recommend Fiverr, if I'm honest with you, because it says what it does on the tin. It doesn't always become £5 or $5, but you can get it done, professionally done as well, because a lot of them are top professionals out there that do it. But say, for example, today, Steve, we're doing this this live chat. We could get this transcribed, put it into a document, jazz it up slightly, nice cover, etc., etc. And therefore, we have now a guide we could give to people that it's transcribed. We could then make that into a series of short video sequences, which then leads on to other products and so forth. It's just really thinking outside the box in a way, but again, segmenting what you think, because people love content. We all love content, and we're getting content from everywhere nowadays. Video's working well for me, and I know it's working well for you, but still the written format holds a certain kind of tangibility, obviously, but kind of, again, that credibility, it always goes back to that. And people love getting stuff in the post as well. You know, when the Amazon box comes through or something else comes through, you know, it's not like it once was when we used to get loads of stuff now. I mean, most of my, online payment, it's all online payments nowadays. So I don't even get, electricity bill through the door anymore. So to get something physical, and what I'm doing for my new book, and because I've seen it work well for my other clients that are doing exceptionally well at the moment, is they're kind of creating, you've probably heard it, it's again like a Frank Kern's type thing. It's a shock and awe package, where you'll get delivered in a nice envelope or a little box. You'll receive a book, you'll get a little chocolate bar, you'll get a pen, you'll also get a copy of a kind of like a direct mail piece that I do. So instead of just getting the book for X amount, £15, £20, which the client's expecting, with that comes a kind of a handwritten note saying, thanks ever so much, Steve, for buying the new book. Hope you really enjoy it. My favourite bits are if you go to page 67, it's blah, 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 blah. Page 1, 2, 3, da, 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 da. Let me know your thoughts. Give me an email back at bill.da-da-da-da-da. Understand? So it's just little things like that, I'm not going to sell, as much as I like to think, I'm not going to sell hundreds of thousands of these books, because of what I'm doing is more lead generating for the business. So I'm specifically targeting through Facebook ads or Google ads, direct mail, emailing, etc., where I'm hoping people will come on to my kind of landing page and buy the book. And it's a tried and tested method at the end of the day. So it works. But again, it's got to be down to the quality of content, people understanding what you're, if you like, what they're subscribing to, and understanding that. And it's just a case of always kind of learning from the mistakes you've made in the past, where you've kind of done these marketing campaigns that haven't worked. There's a reason for that, and kind of working at things that is simple.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight. I love what you said then about you know, selling thousands of copies and stuff, because I got a personal experience of this. I released my book 7 years ago. I'm currently editing it to put it back out there, because there was things in there that there's things I've learned since that I wanted to add to it. But when I released it previously, I had this notion, and maybe others do too, that when you write your book, you've written your book, and then all of a sudden people are going to start flocking to your book. Just because you've written your book, miraculously, these people are going to start coming in and flock in and start buying your book, because it's on Amazon, it's out there. Now, you mentioned about marketing and stuff, so I'd like to maybe highlight a bit of that, and, you know, how much effort and stuff it takes after you've written your book, because that's just the start, right? By the time you finish.
Yeah. I mean, that's what, you know, that's what I always say to people. You know, writing the book is just the start of the process. It's not the end. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused with it. And like I said, I think because it is a very emotional thing. You know, you poured over a few months, a year, 2 years, whatever, how long it's taken you to get this information down. And all of a sudden now you believe, and rightly so, that people should be reading this book. Well, unfortunately, as I said, that's where most people fail, is because no one knows about it, I'm afraid. Just because you've wrote this fantastic book that you know that everybody should be reading, unfortunately, unless you are some well-known person with a huge marketing budget as well behind you, you're not going to sell tens of hundreds of thousands at the start. So the way that I always say to people, look, think of that. You know, once a book's done, it's great, and I'm going to be running it through my kind of email marketing and people that subscribe to me. Is, you know, I'll be walking them through exactly what I'm doing. Now the book's ready. Now I'm not expecting to sell many books really in May, if I'm honest with you. I'll be putting it out there to my email list, so I know I'll get it, you know, hopefully a few hundred copies sold, if you like, because people know me, they know me. And it's not friends and family and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of, you know, people kind of get the myth from. Unfortunately, a study has shown that most self-published books will sell anything between 80 and 120 copies, and that's it.
Wow.
Sad fact. Sad fact. So I'm here really to kind of break the trend of that and help people, you know, get to know their market, understand their market audience, because I'm learning all the time as well. I haven't kind of got the holy grail here at all. I then kind of say, well, you know, I've been able to, you know, spend no money and all of a sudden I've sold £1 million worth of books. I haven't done that. I've you know, put money into marketing and then done well out of it, if that makes sense. But the process is a long process as well. So this book that I've written now is my next 2 to 3 year project. So whereas before I kind of wrote a guide every year because it was good for business. So here's it. But then I soon realised I was kind of regurgitating the same stuff. So after a while, your audience gets a little bit bored of, well, you kind of said we know how to publish a book and all this type of jazz. So and things change, you know, your mindset changes and everything. So this book now, hopefully, if I do it right, is for the next 2-3 years, even plus maybe, because I've targeted a certain area of clients that I'm going for. I believe the book will be helpful for that, and also the book can be updated as well. It's where people kind of get confused. Depends what you're writing. Again, I can only talk about my own experience, because if you're writing some kind of historical book, then obviously you can't update the facts really, because the facts are the facts. So you have to kind of put it into perspective of what we're talking about now. So if we're talking about an evergreen product, which this book kind of is, and I'm sure your clients know and know what that means, this book can be revitalized, if you like, every 18 months with new edition on it. So this kind of book process that I'm doing now is for the next 2 to 3 years. So you need to start thinking that I'm not going to sell thousands of copies. I'd love to think I would, but I'm being realistic. I'm not going to sell thousands of copies in the first 8 weeks because I'm just promoting that. Does that make sense? So unless you want a real quick fix, then I suggest you could dig deep in your pockets and market it, and that still might not be good because it is about a longevity. So yeah.
And even what you said there about 80 to 120 copies, right? Based on where you're coming from, which is totally different to the conventional publishing,
yeah,
where you're getting thousands out there.
Yeah.
80 to 120 people that are actually, on the promotion to this, I was saying about the power, I heard it from Andy Harrington when I was at the event, the power of somebody sitting there and reading your words, and then they're repeating your words in their head. So it's, you can't get better marketing than that, can you?
No, absolutely not.
You're literally inside people's heads. And the thing that I, as you know, with me is, it's about helping people. So if we've got a message, which most authors have, they're not usually going to put anything out there to hurt anybody. So if you really believe in your message and that it's going to make a difference in people's lives, even 80 to 120 people that are going to be, that could have a massive effect on your business. It's just taking the focus and it's changing the belief, isn't it, about what the book is. It's changing the beliefs that it's a marketing tool, and it's a tool in order to help clients to get to know you better and to get that next step and building that trust, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what most books are written that I deal with. People will write books to, of course, it is a financial gain long term, but you're there. Most people that I deal with understand that they need to give out something of value. So information of value, content of value, to gain trust, as we spoke about the other day, so people get to know you, they trust you, and they understand who you are. And by writing a book, I'm not saying it's the only thing you must do, but with any content, you must kind of get that out there. So there are people give as much free information. Okay, a book's not free, we can give it away for free, but a small monetary exchange, if you like, of say 10, 15, 20, 25 pounds, whatever you want to sell it for, is that first kind of trust value from you to the client. So first of all, what I will do, I will give away the first couple of chapters. So, I mean, you're on my email list, so you'll be getting it. So it'll be, hey, look, here's a new book. Well, you'll get an actual copy of it so you can kind of review it for me as well. But it's a case of the email marketing list will be saying, hey, look, my book's coming out on, I've got to put a date, I think it'll be June the 1st, for example, but I'm going to, pre-sales from now for the next month. Before you buy it, here's a free taster. And then obviously that goes into kind of an email sequence for them to buy it at a special price, only available until June the 1st, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how I would do it with my, I'm lucky I have, doesn't mean that just because you've got a huge market in this, you've got to be able to use it. So it's a case of if you've got 100 people on your email list, doesn't matter, or 10,000. Again, the numbers are irrelevant because it's down to quality of content. And it's a case, again, of trying to engage with people that kind of say, look, yeah, I know it's another book, for example. However, this book is going to blah, blah, blah. And if you're interested, go here. I'll give you a couple of free chapters. See if you like it. And then you're on the special offer bonus. Does that make sense? And that's how it kind of works. So that's just the first little step in trying to promote your book. And we can go off into Google AdWords and Facebook and all that stuff, but that's paid for advertising. So it depends on, again, it goes back to your marketing budget. I know a lot of people don't have huge marketing budgets for books. They soon realize they have to spend money on it, because once you do, things happen, but that's life. But again, it's that slowly approach of just trying to gain the trust of either an existing client or a potential client. Depends where they're coming in with you, basically.
Being that you mentioned that about marketing, I'd like to go in because I noticed recently you've posted about getting 5K in for one of your Facebook ads.
Yeah.
That was, and you spent, well, maybe you can tell more details on it, how much you spent, how you went about it, and how many products and stuff you sold on the back end of it. So people can understand how, for little investment, actually you can get quite a bit back.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I posted this. I think was it yesterday or the day before? I can't quite remember now. But again, to show my clients and potential clients that it does happen, and I'll put my money where my mouth is, and also try and prove certain things. I don't know how people are with Facebook advertising, but if you follow the example that I done, you can create a very simple list in Facebook, target specific people. So say, for example, who would people be really, what type of authors would people read in your circle, Steve, for example?
Who would be in my, on the nutrition side of it, would be people like David Wolf and Kid Magic, I suppose would be another one. Yeah, and in my genre would be like Tony Robbins, your classic one, wouldn't it? For example.
So within Facebook there, when you're setting up a very simple campaign, an image of a book, the image I think was my previous book, and it had free 108-page book with an arrow pointing to the book cover. It was that simple, wasn't it? I mean, you've seen it. It wasn't anything fancy, and a bit of a blurb just saying, attention business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers. So I was kind of addressing my crowd, if that makes sense. And then through the targeting, what I done was I would, similar to yourself, you can put in there people that they follow. So in my crowd, it'd be people like Frank Kern, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, et cetera, et cetera. Then you would put in, for example, business owners, entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, sales managers. Do you see what I mean? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Facebook then builds this out for you. And therefore it says, well, we've got, for example, 250,000 people reach, not that they're going to get it all. There's a reach of 250,000 people if you spend 50 quid a day. Okay, well, I haven't got that budget. 20 quid a day. Right, that goes down to, for example, 120, and so on and so forth. So I think the minimum you could spend is £5 a day. So what I wanted to do was to show my clients and potential clients, I'm going to do a real small campaign. It was over 3 weeks, 21 days. I was going to put £5 a day into advertising the book, which is a free book, but you have to pay for postage and packaging. So again, there's that monetary exchange, okay? And it was £3.95, okay? So I'm not going to be rich from it.
The book itself was £3.95.
As in, yeah, so the book was free, and this is a really good thing for people to kind of, when you're promoting the book, this is a way to do it. So I would promote the book internally first of all, okay? And I would say, I brought the book for you. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. It's a really good kind of thing that's happened. I mean, this wasn't my idea. I got this off Russell Brunson, who ClickFunnels, and Frank Kern and people like that who sell hundreds of thousands of stuff. So, but it's a real simple technique where you will say, here's my new book, explain the book, explain the benefits, explain what the clients will get from it. I brought the book for you. All you got to do is pay for shipping and handling, £3, £10, whatever you want to ship it out for. So there's that money, like the monetary exchange is very important. So I used to give away my guides for free at one point, and I was getting rid of a load of them. This is brilliant. But for some reason, I still get quite a few orders through. But once I changed it to a monetary exchange, a very small one, £3, £5, whatever it is, you get a better quality of person. It sounds weird, but it's a £4 or £5 exchange or a 1,500, 50,000. I don't think that's kind of irrelevant. It's that kind of that trust value of that people are willing to hand over their card, if that makes sense, or online card, and they're going to pay for something. That's very important. I wouldn't give stuff away for free of that value. I'll give away kind of PDFs and other bits and bobs, but a book, I would always kind of put a monetary value on it. So long story short, 21 days on Facebook, £5 a day budget. I can't remember the reach it went to, but we've got 319 clicks to the landing page that I set up, which was a simple headline video of me just going blah, 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 here's your book, da, 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 and an order button, video testimonials of some of my clients to kind of give it authenticity and credibility. And that was it, nothing fancy. I think it was 83 books were sold. So, I became a millionaire overnight there, obviously. but not bad. If I'm on, you know, it's one of the best little campaigns I've run in a long time, which is food for thought for myself, because, you know, sometimes we put quite a bit of money into these campaigns. So I targeted, set the campaign up, set the landing page up, and 83 books were sold. And thereafter, to date, out of them 83 people, 5 of them have signed up for one of the publishing packages that I sell, which is total just under £5,000. So less cost, etc. It's about, the marketing campaign was about £500 in total. By the time you add in, I'm lucky I print the books as well. So, but realistically, it's only a couple of quid a book anyway. Plus postage, plus I'd send out some, you know, other little direct mail bits and bobs. So it's around about £500 cost. And then obviously people have purchased, which is great so far on that little campaign, 4,800 and something pounds worth of goodies. So gross is 4,300, but then obviously within that we've got to take out the cost of producing what we're going to produce for the pub. So I don't know. We'll be up, obviously, as you can probably tell, just by that little campaign. So what I'm trying to say is that if you can do it on a shoestring budget, if you like, and I say it has given me food for thought, as in how I targeted that campaign, because I knew that I was trying, like, I've got a £5 a day budget. And when you think about it, Starbucks or Costa Coffee or wet soggy sandwich from Tesco is going to cost you £3-4 quid. You know, putting £5 a day into Facebook just for short, you can do it for 7 days. You don't have to spend a lot of money. The whole point of it is making sure your funnel is correct and everything. The follow-up emails are correct, and the whole kind of system that you've set up. This is where a lot of people go wrong. Is correct. So there's a lot to it, but in essence, it sounds great and it is good. But obviously, you know, I'm ahead of the game a little bit because I do it for a lot of people. So. But it is quite an interesting experiment. You can, you know, advertise. I'd highly recommend anybody to advertise on Facebook at the moment, until things change, no doubt, in the next year or so. But I'd highly recommend now, if you're going to do any projects, to start putting a few pennies into Facebook. You can do it over 7 days, 28 days, or ongoing. It's up to you, really. But you don't have to spend a load of money, as long as the product's good, as always.
What you said there about funnels, some people may not be familiar what a funnel is. So could you just expand on funnels and maybe go into, give them an example of that one that you actually... Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, that one's a perfect one because that's quite a nice, easy one, really. A funnel is a sales funnel at the end of the day. So it's when you bring people into so if at this moment in time, I call it online. I do a lot of offline stuff as well, but a lot of it is via online. So people would come to you via Facebook, Google AdWords, some posts you put up on Facebook, for example, and you would send them to a landing page website. Yeah, so a landing page is a singular page. So there's no fluff, nothing crazy about it, because you're asking people to do something. There's a call to action at the bottom, on the side, wherever you want it to be. Normally 3 call to actions, but the same call to action. So it would be buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. With, you know, making it crass and kind of just cutting it down a little bit. So a landing page is very simple. So the sales funnel is built up of directing traffic, which a lot of people find hard. So directing traffic into this page, this landing page. From the landing page, they might buy. Depends what you're selling. So there's a lot. I mean, I don't know it all. I'm testing all the time. I do a split testing, so I'll have an A and a B. One would be selling, one would be giving. Makes sense? So one would be saying, buy my book. One would be saying, get your free chapter, or free this, or free whatever, free download, free consultation, whatever marketplace you're in. So I'll have an A, which is selling, always selling. I'm a salesman by trade. But no, one is always selling and one is always giving. And therefore, you don't know which marketplace. So you like to think the giving would be the winner, because you will, you know, but sometimes it isn't. The selling is. Because people, oh yeah, that's fine. I know what I want. Yeah, I understand that because it's detailed nicely on the page. It's explained on a video, which is very key. And therefore you've explained the product, whatever that product is. You know, obviously the book at the moment. So this is the sales funnel. Directing traffic, Google, Facebook, direct mail, whatever, into a landing page. From the landing page, we will then say, right, okay, we've downloaded that. They may have bought it. It all goes into another funnel, which is an email marketing funnel. Okay, and from email marketing, which has produced a lot of money for myself, but I think I could have, made a lot more money from email marketing. But it's all about educating. Okay, so the first email back to them should be a thank you. Either way, thank you they haven't bought, or thank you because they've taken something from you because they found it of value. Just because they haven't bought today doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to buy in 5, 10, 15 days later. So this sales funnel was a 21 days funnel because I wanted to make it short and sweet for people. So normally what I do, Steve, I do a kind of a first 3 days is kind of a hello and welcome. The second one is really important. This is what you to expect from me. So the second email is this is what's going to happen next. And then the days 3 to 10 normally, you can split this out over, a few weeks if you like, but I do it on a daily basis. On days 3 to 10 is all about educating people. How can I help you? Oh, by the way, I think you might find this article really interesting. Oh, did you know you need to do this when setting your book? Oh, here's a client of mine giving a case study. So I'm not selling anything from days 3 to 10. I don't sell in days 3 to 10. Well, I'm not actually, hold that, I'm lying. Days 8, 9, and 10, I'm putting in the subtle offer again. So in them, this is something I've been doing over the last year especially. Days 3 to 10 is quite important because, again, building that trust again and trying to nurture that relationship by giving stuff to people. As much content as you can. Don't hold back on anything. Give what you think is of real value. Because I know it sounds silly, well, that could cost me a bit of money. But if you think of the long-term psyche of people, is that if they get to know you, whether it be through video, emailing, etc., whatever that may well be, that will then come through the long-termism. So from go back to it again, direct mail, in it comes. Facebook, Google, direct mail into a landing page, A and B, quite simple. Sell something, give something. Either way, it then goes into an email system, and then it's a case of just nurturing them people until they either buy or go away, unfortunately, or they're just not ready to buy from you yet. They might want another product from you at a different point. They just go into your weeklies or your monthly email. So that is a real, I could talk about funnels all day, Steve, but that is a real simple one, and that's what that book's about. I hope it wasn't too much there, and hope that I explained that quite clearly.
It was awesome. Yeah, maybe I'll put a link to them. I don't know. Is it ClickFunnels that you use? Yeah. Maybe I'll put a link to that so people can after we've done this video, so people can go to there, because it's such an easy platform to use, even if you've never done it before.
Never done it before, no.
Step guidance on how to do it, because and then email system. What do you use for your email system?
MailChimp.
MailChimp.
Yeah, I recommend MailChimp people because to start with, it's free. So I think it's up to 2,000 subscribers. It's free. If you want to automate stuff, which I highly recommend everybody does, then I think it's only about £10 a month to automate. So I'd highly recommend that. So again, when you think about it, what I'm trying to teach people is that you don't have to spend a load of money to get started. It's about the quality of content that you're providing for people, and then obviously it spins off to other things along the way. But MailChimp's fantastic. Who do you use?
Yeah, MailChimp as well, to be honest.
Yeah. It's dead simple to use, and that's the beauty of it. Anything that's easy to use, and I've spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on marketing goodies throughout the years, and I've had it all, if I'm honest with you, and some of it, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant, but it's just not what it was for me at that particular moment in time. I've had the most expensive end of the spectrum, then the cheaper end of the spectrum, but I found MailChimp, because I pay a bit for MailChimp, now it's nothing compared to, and you can do Facebook advertising now for MailChimp, they let you do split testing and everything, so it's a wonderful tool, in my opinion. And there's lots of them out there. You've got Aweber, you've got the more expensive ones, which are Entreport and Infusionsoft, etc. ClickFunnels as well. They've got an actual email marketing suite as well. But yeah, again, it goes back to what you're comfortable with. Don't overcomplicate things, because I've done that in the past and I've always fallen flat on my backside. after I've done that. So as soon as it gets a bit too, it's me being a bit thick, but as soon as it gets a bit too complicated, then you think, well, it's out of my depth here. Keep it simple. The old classic salesman pitch: keep it simple, stupid. You know.
I love that one as well. Keep it simple for the simple, isn't it? Is yeah, I like ClickFunnels. Yeah, I could go on about it for it. And his book as well, Russell Brunson's book, also goes into it. If anyone wants to delve into more of that, his book called .com Secrets, doesn't it? It really homes in on the power of funnel.
Oh yeah, I mean, I found ClickFunnels probably a couple of years ago. Used it, then didn't use it, and then used it again, and because the simplicity of something like that, it's grown my, it's helped me grow my business. I wouldn't say tenfold, but because I can implement stuff for people very quickly and I understand it as well, then it's a case for me now to kind of, that's how I help people very, instantly. I can set up lots of funnels and not overcomplicate things. It's quite simple what we want to do. There are much more complicated ones that I do, but obviously that's more for the higher end side of things that I work with. But for books, I'll keep it real simple. Sometimes you don't even need something like that. You can keep it really simple, and just kind of have a web page. And as long as you've got an email system, I think they're the basics really to get going with and everything. But if you really want to sell it, you do need to kind of push on a little bit and speak to somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, something that I got there was planning. You said, because it's not something, again, that just magically happens. Even if you've got a list and stuff, it looks like there's a lot of planning that goes into this process and not just something that happens.
Whiteboard, Steve. Classic whiteboard. Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with whiteboards, but I think only because that's the way my brain works, I think. I'm quite a visual person, so if I have something in front of me that I know what we're working with, if you and I were talking about, say for example, your book, then we would go really into depth with that, and it's a case of, that's what I do as well. That's what I provide for people. If you want a hook, that's my hook. My consultation with people is, I will give you your free blueprint, book marketing blueprint and marketing. And then I set it all up for them. I give it to people as a freebie and say, look, here you go. This is what I recommend you do. Now you can do it, or I can do it. Up to you. Obviously, here's the ideas we spouted off. This is what I recommend you do. And it's not drawn in a white, but it's kind of like a whiteboard presentation that I give to people and say, look, there you go. So it's a free 30-minute consultation that I do with people. It's my way in to get clients at the end of the day. That's my transparency. That's how I get people through the door. Mm-hmm. It's because if they like me and we get an understanding of what you want, and then I can say, well, I think this is what we need to do, and then we can tweak it along the way, and we run it over like 90 days, for example, or whatever. We're going to get some results back from that. And that's how I get people through the door. And I'm sure you do similar things when you do kind of free consultations or Skypes or whatever it may well be. And that's the beauty of it, is that if you give some people something, then not everybody will take it up, but a high majority will, because they can think, oh, actually, I understand what he's doing. Or some people go away and try it themselves and do it themselves, which is absolutely cool. If they can do it and they come back and say, Bill, I've sold 1,000. I'm like, well, brilliant. Well, tell me how you've done it. Because again, for me, it's brilliant to know what I don't know all the answers. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, this is how you do it, full stop, because I don't. Because things are changing all the time. Like I said, Facebook will change an algorithm, no doubt, in the next, well, they change it all the time, but a major one within the next 6 months, a year. Then everyone's heads are down again, and you change it again. So that's why you need this kind of mapping process, I think, to start with, because I think I said it at the start when we spoke about it, is whenever we speak to people, you always, there's the end product there, as in this is what your customer's expecting. How do we get there to do it all? So you've got to start there, and you kind of work your way through like a map, if you like, and then you get there. So along the way, there's going to be lots of ups and downs. Things aren't going to work. and some things will, but that's why you've got to test things all the time. It's not easy. If it was easy, we'd all be doing it. We'd all be sitting on the beach, happy days, wouldn't we?
I laugh when I see these ads that pop up on YouTube. It's like, oh, I'm a laptop millionaire, blah, blah, blah. I do nothing. I just
press the button.
Stop with me. Yeah, right.
No. There's, unfortunately, well, I don't know. I mean, I've spent so much money on things that you know, it's hard work. You know, regardless, I don't care what anyone says. And I think the beauty of what we have today, Steve, all of us, we all have amazing things at our fingertips. We've all got mobile phones that are amazingly powerful. When people go on about videos, you got most people, not everybody, I understand. Most people have a phone on their phone, a camera on their phone. Use it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, a bit of lighting is great, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, get going on stuff. I dwelled about video marketing. Oh, it's got to be perfect. People won't take me seriously. And I stood there in front of the camera and, oh, hello, and you know, and trying to be somebody that I wasn't, and they never worked. And that's what put me off even more, because I think, well, this is rubbish. Nobody. As soon as you start being yourself and give presentations, what's really good is recording your keynote or PowerPoint presentations. So just a voiceover. So you're kind of doing an actual voiceover of your own presentation. People respond to that as well. And I'm not saying that, oh, because you're going to do this, you're going to get loads of, it's not. It's about gaining trust. Again, people getting to know you. Because we're so bombarded, as we said at the start, with content. You know, you have to stand out. Whatever your clients are thinking of selling, and what you've got to stand out from the crowd. You've got to be the one that's different, that's offering a really good service, a really good product. Not necessarily for a really good price either, because I don't believe in that you should be cheap at all. You shouldn't discount ever, in my opinion. That's another conversation for another day. But you know, it's really tough. You know, as I said, you know, in the new book that I've wrote is, you know, 7 years ago, I could put a couple of grand into Google AdWords and I would get 15, 20 grand cash back a month from orders. Really simple. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't sitting there with the old thing, but there'd be a limit. Well, if I put 4 grand in, would I get 40 grand? It didn't quite work like that, but you kind of found your limit. But it was very, very easy to get that. Things change, and then, you know, you have different Facebook advertising. Keep banging out Facebook, but you've got YouTube, Instagram now, Snapchat that I know nothing about, but people are banging on about that as well. It's finding your audience, finding where your kind of you know, your audience are, and then putting in the bait and kind of trying to hook them out. So, you know, it's really tricky. It's not easy. And I think the more content we have, the harder for marketeers. Well, the harder it becomes, but also the more fun it becomes as well, because I think the ones who are cracking it properly are the ones who are really delving deep into knowing where their clients are. And guess what? Some people could be offline. Imagine that. You know, not everybody could be online, which I'm obsessed with online advertising. I am obsessed with it. But when we've done direct mail campaigns, sending out quirky little things to people, that works, because, like I said, people love receiving stuff as well as looking at online and visually seeing somebody like you and I now, for example, but also getting a book from Steve Phillips with a little chocolate bar and a little handwritten note saying thanks for buying the book off me. That probably would resonate more than a free video. Maybe not, but you see what I mean? So it's all sorts, really. You know, here, you know, in my office as well, we constantly trying new things, and 9 out of 10 of them, they don't work, you know. So but you've got to keep trying things that until they do work, and then the ones that do work, you've got to keep refining it and refining it and refining it.
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it? That it doesn't, you know, it's not, and I think that'll help with people because you're going to fail at stuff, but it helps to know that, okay, you're going to fail and it's not going to work out possibly the first 2 times, where some people will say, oh, you just do it this way and then it's going to work straight away, and then you can get disheartened, can you, right? Yeah. But it's nice actually to hear somebody yourself being really honest and saying, look, might not work out first time, but just do it again and try it differently. You know, so at least you're prepared in your mind that it's not, you know, it's not gonna, it may not be all rosy and butterflies and
No.
and all that, you know.
I mean, yeah, exactly. And so if you think of the people that will be watching this and the products that they'll be selling, and it might be high end, I don't know. But again, it's a case of a lot of the, you know, I spoke earlier about the funnels. The reason why we do it for over a period of time rather than just a short, oh, there you go, off you go, we've done it, is because along that way, if you like, it is like a heartbeat monitor where it's going to go up and down, up and down. Things are going to, and then the ones that clearly that isn't working. That's why, again, I'm kind of obsessed with split testing. If you have 2 or 3 different offers, if you like, and A's winning by 72%, and B's got 16%, and C's only got 2. Hopefully my maths works out then you get rid of C. It's quite simple. And then you work hard at B and well, A definitely. You think, well, if A's winning by so much, we can get rid of them 2, and we just tweak A until we get it up to the levels we get. But also if it dips to 64%, do you see what I mean? Then you kind of, right, let's go. So again, it is constant. It is constant. And it's a case of, you can relate this to any business, no matter if you're just a startup or you're churning over millions and billions type things, because the process is the same. It depends on obviously how large your community is, who you're selling to, and your client base. Obviously, that's why they're billions rather than just a few thousand here and there. But it's a case of just really getting through to people that no matter what level you're at. So if you're just selling something for £5, you know, and you know realistically that you're not, you know, it's not going to be make you cash rich, but you love this product so much that you know you can sell 1,000 a year or something, and you're happy with that. But the process of selling that is going to be the same as selling something for 50,000, 100,000. It's just knowing that audience and everything. So the process is the same. It's just getting your mindset, which does blow my mind sometimes. You think, well, that can't be true, but it is. When you think about it, if the system's right in place, then no matter what you sell, whether you sell high-end consultation, whether you sell product, whatever it is, a widget, the process is going to be the same, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. You know, you mentioned earlier about creating this into. I think I'd like to take that on board and just actually create that, transcribe this, and to show people how easy it could be to create like an ebook, etc.
Yeah.
I think it's it'd be a nice little experiment just to show people how you can convert something, because this is really valuable information, especially for somebody that's looking for that's just thinking about writing a book, or that's just thinking about expanding their business, because there's so many people in business which they can get to a point, and then when they get to that point, then they plateau and they know how to get further. Well, all of this stuff, all this info is going to help to take.
Well, that's what changed my, you know, without sounding doom and gloom. You know, I had a business that failed, and I'm quite open and honest with that, and that's because I built it very quickly, doing very well, and then we plateaued, and it just kind of you know, the cogs of the wheel started to kind of fold because I hadn't set the right strategy up in the first place. I was still kind of building it from old techniques that I was doing X amount of years back, and that was my first ever business as well. So that was my first baby, you know, that I kind of put all my eggs in when I first started, put all my money into it. It was a print business, so it's print machines and very expensive stuff. And luckily, by that time, I'd built a couple of other businesses. But the first business, which which you take more personally than anything, that that one failed regardless. You know, there's no getting away from that. I had to kind of shut the doors on that, and that was heartbreaking. But with that, you know, by the time you kind of, you know, mop the tears up and kind of skulk about for a little bit, then if your mindset right, you kind of think, right, what did I do? What was good about the business to start with? Because you don't go from nothing to up there without having something that's good. And then you kind of think, well, how come the wheels did come off? And then you start again reverse engineering it to think, well, actually, the old 80-20 rule, but 80% of it was pretty good. 20% of it was pretty bad, whether it be customer service, whether you weren't delivering on your promises, whether you were charging to not enough money, you know, etc. So I went through that process, which hopefully over the last few years has made it better for me, as it were, that you've gone through that. Therefore, you can understand that that's business. You know, things work, things don't work. You either give up or you don't give up. You know, and it's a case of the same thing when you're marketing a product. It's exactly the same thing. A lot of the things that most people will do will be right, if that makes sense. So, but I'm contradicting myself, is that about 9 out of the 10 things you do will fail. Does that make sense? So you're doing all the right, as in you're doing all the right things, but you're failing along the way. Something within that cog, if you like, isn't working. And that's the thing where most people, including myself, you know, I can put myself in that bracket, that's where I fail. I was doing most of the things right, but something in there, if you like, failed me. And I couldn't work that out quick enough until I've kind of gone back through my, you know, the whole thing like you do in your head. If you've ever had a business, if anyone had a business out there that has failed, then you take it very personally, and you as I say, you can either skulk away and never come back, or you come back and you make yourself better than what you were before. And it's a case of just, I'm not saying that finished article, far from it, but you know, if you can understand that process, is that most people, that's why most people get frustrated and give up, because they think that they are doing things right, but there's something within that kind of cog that isn't kind of working. It's like a car. I know nothing about cars, by the way, but you know, it's that kind of mechanical process of really kind of thinking, well, I'm doing everything, but why isn't my product selling? Why aren't my consultancy selling? Why isn't my widgets selling? Why isn't my, you know, et cetera, et cetera. There's got to be something there. Or why am I getting repeat orders? Why aren't people coming back to me? It's a whole process. You could sell stuff, but then you may not be getting other orders thereafter. Depends on what it is. Or why, you know, I've sold 1,000 books, I can't sell anymore. Why not? It's like you say, there's a plateau. People get to that plateau, and there's a reason for that. So, yeah, I mean, that's whether that's right or wrong, but that's the way I personally think anyway. That's what I really believe is most people are doing things right. It's just probably in the wrong way. You know, and that's my opinion anyway. Whether it's right or wrong, but that's what I stick to.
So it's constant refining. It's constant refining.
Yeah. But I think where most people will muddle in it, say for example, they've set up, we'll go back to Facebook again because it's my favourite subject at the moment, but they will do a campaign for 14 days. It's not working. Stop it, give it up. Instead of having a look at why it's not working. And I've you know, don't meddle in stuff too much. Don't stop stuff. Just tweak, and see if you are getting a little spike. It might only be 0.1% per day or something. But if you can, it's patience, I'm afraid. And I'm terrible for it. I don't have much patience. I'm getting better, a lot better. But I think most people are really impatient in what they're doing. I think everybody wants it now, you know. And you know, I've been part of that as well, and I'm sure you have, where you kind of think, oh, it has to be now. Well, just because we want it now doesn't necessarily mean our clients or prospects, they want it now. And that's why if you get the cogs right, it's going to be this long-term automation, selling the book, selling consultancy, whatever you're doing. If you get it right long-term, then it will happen. It just takes time, unfortunately. Unless obviously you're one of these internet gurus who promise everything that you're going to make £1 million in a day, but you know. Yeah. But there we go.
Oh, it's nice. I really like speaking to you and doing this chat because it's very real, it's very tangible, and it tells people what to expect as well, rather than like you say, you're going to make £1 million next week or in 2 days, or but you know, it's just unrealistic targets and expectations, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And it's not being pessimistic either. I am the most optimistic person out there, but I think you have to have that kind of realistic attitude of one step at a time, and let's build the foundations first of all. If you can build the foundations first of all, and again harboring back, but I think that's a problem. I not that I went from 0 to 500 million. I've never been one of the people, but I went from 0 to kind of £250,000, £300,000 turnover very, very quickly, from nothing, didn't have any old leads or databases from any old businesses that I had. I started literally from scratch, boom, straight from it, which is great. Orders were flying in. It's fantastic. However, you know, once I plateaued at, you know, whatever, 500,000, whatever it was, which was great. Money's coming in, business is doing right, a good few employees. Life's great. I was earning all right money. Lifestyle was great, etc., etc. But because I hadn't built the foundations properly, and taken my time over it, 'cause, you know, but that's the excitement of when you set a business up, and you know, you have to drive that forward. You have to get money through the door. But and I fully understand that. And there's no, you know, you should push it, but you've got to get them foundations in properly while you're building, whatever that is, whether you're building a supplement business or whether you're building, you know, an offline business or whatever it may well be. And it's not just me that says that. I'm sure if you know, there's loads of people out there that have gone through the same process I have. It's probably the same thing. The foundations weren't right. Exactly what what you spoke about earlier, Steve. Really, if the foundations aren't incorrectly, then you are going to eventually, it's going to crumble around you. But it's also, excuse me, if you have a steady business or whatever you're running, it's continually building on them foundations. And I know that sounds a bit markety and salesy, but it's so true. Is, you know, if you're in a good place, which I hope most people here are, but you have to build on it. Keep building it. Don't stay level. I done that. I was quite happy with life, if I'm honest. Nice everything, you know. And I think once you get to that kind of level, you're in danger. And I think that's what happened to me. I was in, you know, business was doing great, if you like, for a small business, and then took your foot off the pedal. The energy wasn't there. The complacency kicked in, and it's a try. You know, we all know that, but when you know when you're in that position, you don't think you are. But when you look back, you know, I've spoken to people who have been in much bigger businesses than I ever ran, and we're talking, you know, hundreds of millions. And you know, their businesses have failed, if you like, lost everything. But their determination and will. But again, it would go back to that. It would be back to complacency, or the foundations they grew, and they didn't have the right systems in place, whatever it may well be. Lessons learned. I think that's why people listen to people like me and you, I suppose, isn't it? Just don't make the same mistakes.
That's it, isn't it? You can speed up your evolution, if you like, can you? If you listen to other people that fail. Like, that's one of the things I talk about in my book, is learning from other people's mistakes. And I hope that's what people will do from what you just shared there, you know, because it's because you can feel other people's pain and learn from that. There's a Vedic saying. It says that the most intelligent hear it, and then they learn, they get it straight away. Yeah. Some people will hear it, they'll see it in action, and they'll get it. And then there's the other people that they'll hear it, they'll see it in action, but they'll keep on making the mistakes themselves as well. So, you know, and it's just a level of intelligence, really. The intelligent person will see somebody else making a mistake, and they'll learn from that. You know, it's one of the Vedic things, and it's I'm not at that level, unfortunately. I'm one of the ones that dives in head first and learns from my own mistakes. I must be stupid, but it's but one of the things that from that I'm really grateful from all those times, because from some of those darkest times, I've actually got my greatest lessons. So those are the things that have actually propelled my... I mean, again, this is probably a very long conversation you and I could have. But I mean, you know, I deeply believe in that. I think you will only learn from mistakes, as sad as it is and as harsh as it is. But it depends how not all mistakes are negative either. And I think, again, it depends on your mindset and everything. And I don't think it should be perceived at, oh, well, this did, well, cool, that didn't work. But why, you know, the old classic, why not? I don't think people will ask themselves why not enough. It's just, oh, that didn't work, give up. And I've done that so many times, you know, and maybe it's, you know, I'm 41 this year, maybe it's I'm getting older and a little bit wiser. I've made some big mistakes along the way. And I think if you don't learn from them, I think you're right. You can't keep repeating them same mistakes. You need to address them mistakes. But I don't see why so many people see it as a negative, and maybe it's just ingrained into people's psyche. I don't know. As I say, maybe I'm just a stupid optimist that kind of is a bit of a dreamer and a fantasist. I don't know.
But I just think, you know, okay, look, I messed up. That's fine. You learn from it. You probably make another 2 or 3 mistakes along the way, but that's all part of growing, I think, and growing as a person as well. I think that's a huge development. You know, when you think, you know, 10 years or so ago when I first set up the business, you know, the person I was then to what I am now, the enthusiasm, what's business still there, but I think I am a lot wiser. I think maybe you had a few hard knocks, and also reality kicks in. Is you know, that you're going to build this amazing thing, everyone's going to come, it's so easy, why, you know, why is everyone stupid, why is my boss that I work for so bloody stupid, and you know, all that type of stuff. Then when you realize the magnitude of it all, I think you become a better rounded person as well, become a little bit grumpy, become a lot bolder as well. But I say that's all part of learning, isn't it? And I think if you don't get excitement from learning, whether it be positive or negative, then you shouldn't really do it anyway. You should just, you know, do whatever you feel best. You know, whether that's just a simple 9 till 5, that's cool, no worries. But you know, if you don't want to do that, you have to take risks, I'm afraid. As far as I'm aware, nobody that I know that's in brackets made it has never not taken one risk. And it depends on your risk levels and everything. You know, going back to it, you know, when I set my first business up, the rule of thumb with my wife and I was, you know, do what you want, Bill, but you will never risk the house. And that was cool by me. I knew the rules. Fair enough. You know, blimey, I whittled a lot of money away along the way, and I've made a lot of money and all that stuff. But that was a rule. And there's one point where you think, oh, I've really, you know, if I could remortgage, I'll tell you what, more my problems would. But I'm so glad we didn't, you know, I probably wouldn't have a house, and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, again, setting the rules of engagement, if you like, when you're first starting out, or even now, you know, if you've been doing in business for however long, 5 years, 25 years, you can always put a new rules out and kind of say, right, this is what I want to achieve in the next 3 months to 6 months. And I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to risk this, but I'm not willing to do that. And I think once you have that, then I think you know where you're at as a risk taker. Because I saw a brilliant thing the other day, I can't remember who it was, said it. And they said that most people think you can go to 0 to £1 million. But I said, what's wrong with going from 0 to £150,000 or £200,000? What's wrong with that? That's a massive life change. You know, and I'm not talking about, people always get me wrong. I'm always talking about monetary value and stuff, because you and I spoke, how I break things down. And to me, I have to do that. I have to break that things down into projects, as in I need to sell that much product and that's going to cost me that. I need that many visitors, and that's how I work. You know that. But I'm not money obsessed, by the way. I mean, it helps, as we all know, we all need money, but also it's more of a freedom thing for myself, and a lifestyle thing. If you're the boss of yourself, and there's nothing more empowering than that, I don't think. You know, that's the most empowering thing I think you can do for yourself. It's not fit for everybody, don't get me wrong. Not everyone can do it, but if you have that inclination, then do it. It's scary, but it is empowering, and it's horrible at times as well. In fact, it's horrible 99% of the time, but that 1%, you know, is you can't beat it.
I love it. I love speaking to you, Bill. Thank you so much.
No worries.
We've gone over the hour now, but it's yeah, thank you so much for spending the time and helping to share your wealth of experience. And you know, you've been at there, lost it, and come back into it. I think that was really powerful at the end of it, and I hope a lot of people get a lot from it, you know. So thank you so much for the interview, and yeah, all the best in business, and look forward to seeing more stuff from you. I'm looking forward to the new book coming out, actually. So before we finish, quickly, could you just give people, how can they get more of you? How can they see your books? What's your website, etc.? Sure.
So they can, there's two sides. If you're thinking of publishing a book, then go to elitepublishingacademy.com. For more of this type of stuff and other bits and bobs about marketing, then go to billgossmarketing.com. So publishing is elitepublishingacademy.com, and more marketing is billgossmarketing.com.
Awesome. So, and Bill gives loads of stuff for free, like he's done here today now. And the other thing, like he said in the chat, He gives a free consultation for people where you have half an hour and speak with Bill, and he can map things out for you, have a good chat, give you loads of content just in that 30 minutes. And like he said, you can take it or leave it. Then you can move forward with him if you want to, or you can decide to do it yourself, which is fine too. So if you'd like to take Bill up on that offer, go to one of those websites, elitepublishingacademy.com or billgossmarketing.com.
Magic.
Happy days. Thanks, Bill.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks ever so much.
All the best.
Cheers.